Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Happy new month from your friends at New Life Live. I'm Brian Perez, and I'm joined by clinical psychologist Dr. Jill Hubbard and licensed marriage and family therapist J.J. West. How are you guys doing? Ready to help more people today?
Yep.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yay. So, Jill, what's on your mind to start us off today?
Well, I always have a few things on my mind. And today I want to touch on, well, last time we were together, we talked a lot about addiction. So it's perfect, JJ, to be on with you again. So I have a few thoughts on addiction and narcissism and trauma. Because I think we get a lot of calls about addictions. We get a lot of calls from people that say, oh, my spouse is narcissistic, or, right? And we have a lot of people that have been through trauma. So when I look at these things, first of all, the idea of trauma and addiction, okay? And that a lot of times we see addiction as unresolved trauma. And like people like Gabor Mate, am I saying his name right? Talks about that, okay? So that is one idea. And I do think that that is true. When we have unresolved trauma, it leads us to try to get away from those feelings. There's another idea, though, in which trauma happens within and as a result of addictive behavior. So the very thing we are doing to cope with what we have unresolved in life also creates an environment where we end up having and creating more trauma in our lives. And so it's both and. And this, people are attempting with addictions a lot of times to self-regulate. But it's the idea that it causes greater dysregulation and so greater upheaval in people's lives. So when we look at the idea, too, of this idea of self-medicating that goes along with addiction, right? We know that it's a poor way of coping, right? It's an immature way of coping. And again, this idea that it leads to more dysfunctional coping. So we all have issues in life that we struggle with. We have things that happen to us that were out of our control. Then how do we deal with that moving forward? And so then there's this idea of, okay, well, addicts are really, really selfish people, and they mimic narcissistic behavior. And so it's like, we'll get a call where this person is a narcissist, and then we hear, oh, but they also drink. Oh, but they also use drugs, right? So it's important to know that there's a lot of overlap when we're looking at what's going on with our loved one or what's going on in ourselves. And so how do you tease this out? Like, which is it and what do you address? And so while things can mimic each other, they often have very different kind of, core origination patterns, right? Or reasons for why they start. And so it's important to know that not all addicts are narcissists. Not all narcissists are addicts, but there is a really strong correlation. Yeah. Right? So some of, okay, I hear the music, but some of the overlap is that it's like, is this an addict? Is this a narcissist? When my loved one gets sober, they're going to be wonderful. But have they been wonderful before they started using? Right? Yeah. Or were they a jerk before? They're likely to be a jerk afterwards, right? So, but if it's purely addiction, you're going to see a lot of inconsistencies in the narcissistic traits, right? They're going to have times when they are sober where, you see that vulnerability, you see that humility, versus not seeing it. So I'll leave it there for now, and we can
if we have time, we'll continue later in the hour. But when we come back, we're going to take some phone calls. I see Linda, Sandy, Jay, and everyone else who wants to call in today. We are here for you.
We've been married 33 years. We attended the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop. Even though we've read books, or attended a few other marriage weekends, this was certainly different and a lot more intensive than initially that we thought.
When you come to intimacy in marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process.
Was not really sure exactly what to expect, but the idea of learning to really understand intimacy was intriguing. We had been in the same patterns of struggle over and over again.
If you've thought, I don't think we can ever change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, the Intimacy in Marriage workshop can help you get out of the rut.
The Intimacy in Marriage Weekend is July 25th to the 27th in Washington, D.C. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
I would highly recommend it.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
I mentioned it's a new month. It's also the first Thursday of May, so it's the National Day of Prayer, and we would love to pray for you here at New Life Ministries. You can go to newlife.com/prayer to submit your prayer request, and we really do pray for all those requests that come in. Again, newlife.com/prayer. And now let's go to the phones, beginning with Sandy in Tampa, Florida. Welcome to New Life Live. Thanks for calling us today.
Well, hello. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, it says here you're a new listener.
I am, yes.
How'd you find out about
us?
us?
That was perfect. It just came on in my car. I think it was a God thing because I really needed to talk to y'all.
Yes, it's a God thing, not quote-unquote coincidence. We definitely believe in God things. So how can we help you?
Well, I'm calling about my son, James. He's in college. He was dating someone for over 3 years. Almost 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And she stayed in college as long as possible, is what she was trying to do, is what she told us. And our son withdrew from college to take care of her because she was so sick. And he drove her to classes, he prepared food, he did all sorts of stuff to try and help her stay in college as long as possible. Come to find out, that was all a lie. She lied about having terminal cancer. She didn't even have cancer.
Did you say she was diagnosed with it, though?
She told us.
Or she told you that she was diagnosed. Okay.
But she was sick?
Yes.
And yet she stayed in college,
No.
but he dropped out.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And we supported him through all this, and because we loved her, we wanted to support both of them. Of course, it was such a complete shock for him, for our family.
No doubt.
We found a specialist who deals with, I know we can't diagnose her, and no specialist can unless they see her as a patient, but just from talking with specialists, because we saw people to try and deal with this, because there were a number of things that happened that we were just like, when you live with cancer up close and personal, and there were lots of warning signs, and that we dismissed for a while. It took us a while for my husband and I to finally talk about it, because you feel just awful, even thinking that someone doesn't really have cancer or is just sick. You don't think anybody would ever go there.
Right.
No, of course not.
So eventually we got to the point where we knew it wasn't true, and I don't want to go to all the details, but it was proven that it wasn't true. But we spoke with a specialist who deals with borderline personality disorder and narcissistic tendencies and things like this, and he deals with loved ones of those individuals too.
Yeah.
And our son is seeing him virtually. And it's been a little bit of time. He's dealing with it.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult. And he said that he needs depression meds. And this doctor who he was seeing does not do that. So he referred him to somebody who does. And we're just concerned about long-term effects.
Yeah.
We're concerned about a number of things with him because, you know, in this relationship, he's walked away from his faith. And we're just concerned about him with not only the meds, but having a long-term, healthy, loving, and trusting relationship in the future.
Yeah. No, for sure.
It shattered us too, and we weren't even.
It's going to be hard for him to trust again. JJ, what do you say to Sandy?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things here. Of course, you have those concerns, rightly so, because he's been through a tremendous trauma, and there's been unbelievable broken trust. So yeah, there's reason to believe that it might be difficult for him to trust people moving forward in long-term relationships, but it's not hopeless. Lots of people have gone through similar types of things that your son has gone through and have lived to tell the tale, have lived to be able to love again and to recognize that, yes, this person that he was in relationship with made some terrible choices, really hurtful choices, but that doesn't mean that he will always choose someone who makes such terrible choices, right? And so he can learn and grow, and you all can learn to pay more attention to that voice inside that's saying something's not right here, something's not adding up. Of course, you wouldn't jump to the conclusion, oh, this person's probably lying about having cancer, because who would do that? But you start to learn as you go through things like this. You start to go, okay, there's something going on in my gut saying something's not lining up here. I'm gonna pay attention to that. I'm not gonna dismiss it, right? So that's one thing. The second thing about, in terms of medication, I understand your concern. I don't think any of us would ever want a loved one to become dependent on anything, certainly medication. But I do think it's important to recognize that first of all, there's been tremendous advancements in the field of psychotropic medication in terms of diagnosis and treatment. And then two, to recognize that whenever there's an organ in our body that is not producing enough of or overproducing a certain chemical, it makes sense to try and adjust that medically. If my pancreas is not producing enough insulin, it makes sense for me to take the chemical insulin into my body to compensate for that. And that's not a lack of faith when I do that. And so if another organ, my brain in my body, is underproducing a certain chemical like serotonin, for instance, it's okay to, for a time, or maybe even for a long time, depending on how chronic the problem is, to take medicine to compensate for that. My guess would be, and I can't say this for sure, this is just a educated guess, is that it probably won't be a permanent thing simply because most of the depression that he's experiencing is situational to the trauma he just went through. So it probably won't be lifetime, but we can't say that for sure. And I would obviously refer you to his medical professionals to make that decision. Yeah. But more than likely, it would be temporary. And even if it is permanent, this is not a lack of faith. This is simply recognizing there's a medical problem in my body, and I'm trying to do the best thing possible to compensate for this part of my body that is either overproducing or underproducing a certain chemical.
Well, and Sandy, let me also add that lots of people, when they go through like a betrayal like this, people going through divorce or loss of a loved one, need to go on medication for a period of time to sort of lift the bottom so they aren't so much in despair that they're unable to process what's been happening. And so if we lift the bottom a little bit so that then he can do the work in therapy to get through this, he'll have a better outcome long term. And like JJ said, most people are on medication for just a period of time, especially when it's situational. And then they go off of it after they're doing well for a while. But I wouldn't worry about long-term effects from the medication. I think it's really important, though, that you guys create the optimal situation for him to get the psychological help that he needs, and really looking at for himself. I mean, your son sounds like such a caring person,
Yes.
but that he would sacrifice his own kind of well-being and life situation to help her. Like, I'm wondering, where was her family, her parents? Where is her support system outside of a boyfriend that was also in college? And I think to look at those kind of behaviors, how, and he would do this in the therapy, how did he get sucked into completely giving up on his life? Because this is not a marriage situation. This is a dating situation.
Yeah.
Very, very different.
Yeah.
In terms of the amount of investment.
Any resources from the newlife.com store? I'm thinking Trust, but...
Yes, I was thinking that too.
Okay, we'll send you Trust, Sandy. Thank you so much for calling in today on New Life Live. And this is a book you can read and your whole family can read to learn how to trust again, especially after something like this happened. That is just crazy. But we hear about it in the news. People do that all the time. Linda in Austin, Texas, thank you for calling in to New Life Live today. How can we help you?
Hi. Thank you very much for taking my call. I've listened to y'all for many, many years, and you've helped me through a lot of things. My daughter is 38 years old. She's been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. This is the third time she's been in residency for, trying to get better. There's been, I'd say there was a year or two between the first couple of times, and then there's been almost 3 years since the last time, and she's been functioning very well, working, going to school, everything. But she started getting extremely anxious after somebody, there was sort of somebody was breaking into her backyard through a lock and leaving her back gate open, and there was some concern about tampering with her bedroom window, and it just threw her off into this thing.
Oh yeah.
So after a week of severe anxiety and just watching her struggle with it, we talked about it and decided that she would just go ahead into a program where she could get some psychiatric and therapy help and get her medications straightened out and hopefully not go deeper into, something.
Yeah. So what's your main question for us today?
My main question is, we've been through this a few times before with her being in residence and then coming out. And, she only spends a week or two at a place and then can come back. And she was living at home the other 2 times. This time she has her own home. She's attending college and working. We probably live about 30 minutes away, but my husband and I both work too. And, she's not exactly suicidal or homicidal. She's more, I'm afraid that I might lose control and hurt myself or hurt somebody else. And so, I just received the call saying we're going to be releasing her, and, are there knives in the house, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
And it's kind of brought up a flag for me. Like, number one, should I go stay with her and just move out from my home and go live with her for a while to make sure she's safe?
JJ, what do you think?
Am I going to be safe? I feel like I'm safe around her, but she sometimes worries, doesn't want to hurt somebody, and, that kind of thing.
Well, it's
more of intrusive thought.
Yeah, can I just say, Linda, I like that, one, that you got her the help because you've been through this before, right? I would think that they would stabilize her before releasing her, but I like that you're thinking of kind of a graduated way of kind of re-entry into life. And so, a couple of things, like maybe she comes and spends a week at your house and then you go spend a week at her house. But something like that where she has someone around for a little bit so that she kind of can, restabilize in her environment. and feel a little more secure. If you're willing, if that's not too disruptive. But I think that would be a really good plan.
JJ, we got about 30 seconds till the break.
Sorry, JJ.
Yeah, I would. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. It was disconnected there for a second. So I would just say, talk to the clinical social worker or whoever is on staff about that step-down plan. What do they recommend? What makes the most sense for her to be successful in transitioning back?
Very good. So, Linda, we're going to send you something from the newlife.com store. If you'll stay on hold, we'll get your information and we'll put that in the mail to you. Hey, thank you very much for listening to New Life Live, and thank you for telling your friends about us. Thank you for supporting us financially, too, whether you're a Club New Life member, our monthly support system, or you can give a one-time gift right now because we're in the middle of a matching gift up to $500,000. We're trying to reach that goal by the end of the month. You can help us. Go to newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Restore gave me strength. It gave me more belief in my faith. I met up with a group of women that are going through things that they had no control over.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Dallas, Texas, May 2nd through the 4th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I've had a great experience at Restore.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Hey, Linda, thanks for calling in today to New Life Live. We want to send you a copy of Understanding and Loving a Person with Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, so we'll send that out to you. Thanks for calling in today. And now we're going to go back to the phones, beginning with Jay in Atlanta, Georgia, who's listening on WBHY. Carol and Sierra, don't hang up. We'll get to you guys as well. But Jay, welcome to New Life Live.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, how can we help you today?
Yeah, my wife, we have 3 living children, and she's been pregnant 4 times. And what I'm trying to say, she had a miscarriage on the second time she was pregnant on Thanksgiving Day some time ago. Well, that's traumatic all by itself, but then even more traumatic is that we knew something was going on 2 days before the miscarriage. Went to the doctor. He said, everything's okay. It's your first child. We're like, it's not our first child. The second child. He said, well, just go home. She went back to work like the next day, and that's pretty, the work and overextending herself kind of made the situation go downhill really quickly when we had a miscarriage on our second child. So the issue is I didn't know it until like a year after that she began to hoard. I believe because the way the child was lost, it was taken from her, so to speak. She began to hold on to a lot of different things. So now our house is packed with a lot of stuff. And I've been trying to get it out. I've been talking to my mom at times. I think I haven't handled it the best way. Like I've taken things and she wasn't there, or just give her a deadline and try to take it, and she just gets really depressed, really sad about it.
Yeah.
And don't really talk to me, so I don't know what to do.
Jill, didn't you have a recent conversation about this when we were talking about decluttering and everything?
Oh, well, yes, we have talked about that a lot. And so this is, you are kind of already naming it, Jay, that she's had this extreme loss and the behavior started. So hoarding often is around loss. Mm-hmm. And so when we feel completely out of control in a situation, we do what we can to control. So this holding on to things to kind of insulate her and ward off any future loss. And it doesn't always make logical sense because these things are not a baby. A baby is so much more valuable. I think it's interesting, though, that you went on to have two more children after this. Correct?
Yes, we did. Yeah, we did within 11 months of each other.
Okay. And that's rather quick. And so I wonder if you guys did anything to kind of grieve this miscarriage. A lot of times when it's a miscarriage, people minimize the impact of the loss. Yeah. But this really triggered something in your wife and now has been, probably taken on a much greater meaning. I mean, it is a life. It has a great meaning. Mm-hmm. But it's taken on and perhaps representing other losses that she has had in life. And then she had another child quickly and two more. So I guess I'm just wondering if she's really had a chance to process it through.
Probably not.
Jay, did you guys
really know what to do?
JJ, go ahead.
Did you and your wife ever do a funeral, a memorial for the baby that was lost in the miscarriage?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
You did. Okay. And what was that child's name?
I'll give you the initial. What I'll tell you, it was Josiah.
We didn't catch that. What?
It was Josiah.
Josiah.
Okay.
Gotcha. And when you were able to do the memorial, the funeral for Josiah, was your wife able to express her sorrow? Was she able to express a farewell, a goodbye to Josiah?
Well, she cried. I gave the short eulogy for the child, and we had balloons. And we released them to the air. I guess that's symbolic of releasing the child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm really glad that you guys did that. That is an important step. It sounds though like she is still needing to grieve, needing to express that loss, like Jill was saying. So oftentimes, hoarding is that way. I'm trying to insulate myself from having to feel this pain. I'm trying to insulate myself from having to feel out of control. I can't control the fact that somebody this close to me was taken, and I'm trying to. Again, it doesn't always make logical sense, but I'm trying to make something that is not controllable within my control. And so it could be helpful for her to write a letter to Josiah, to express what's in her heart, to express her pain, but also to be able to say goodbye and to express what she missed out on in not being able to raise him. That can be helpful for her. Doesn't mean it's going to automatically cure the hoarding. I'm not suggesting that, but it could be a way for her to feel the pain instead of trying to avoid the pain through the hoarding. Mm-hmm. And then on the hoarding side, I would say you gotta lay out, okay, this is what we can and what we can't do in terms of living together. Go ahead, Jill. I know the music's playing.
Yeah, that's okay. I think it might also be good in addition to just the letter, kind of maybe having some ongoing conversation and maybe like reviewing your wife's life. Historically, what are the other losses she has experienced in life? Because I'm thinking the hoarding is now generalizing, and it is more in warding off anything bad that could happen, right? And holding on. So I think it's about, it may have been triggered by Josiah, but I think it's become about more than Josiah, too.
Yeah. It's time to take a break here on New Life Live. We'll be back with your calls. Carol and Sierra, you're next.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
You know, I'm so thankful because you know why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And you know one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch listening to all this great information and not paying, so my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
The Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is coming up July 25th in Washington, D.C. Many people have equated this weekend to months of therapy. And J.J. West, who's with us today, can you tell us why it's so effective, this Intimacy and Marriage Intensive? JJ,
because you are far away from. Yeah,
we lost you for a second.
So one of the reasons why it feels that way is because you're removing yourself from all the distractions of day-to-day life. So you're not going from the therapy session back into making dinner or dealing with the kids who aren't doing what they're supposed to or whatever. Like you're set apart for 2.5 days to just focus on your relationship. But then there's this opportunity to dig deep into how the way you learn to do relationships in your family of origin impact your relationships now. And it's amazing to watch people when the light bulb goes off and it's like, oh, that's why I've been doing that. That's why we keep having the same argument over and over, no matter where it starts, we end up in the same place. It's because we're following these well-worn paths, these patterns that have been ingrained in us from the beginning, from our childhood. And so it's content, but it's being separate. And then not only are you just sitting down with a facilitator or just hearing some information or reading some material, you then have this small group process that's helping you figure out how to apply what you've just learned to your life, to your situation, to your marriage. And that's why the program works, because it's all designed to get you to dig deep into the things that are driving you and the broken patterns in your relationship.
You can find out more about the Intimacy and Marriage Intensive happening the weekend of July 25th in Washington, D.C. Go to newlife.com/IIM, as in Intimacy and Marriage, newlife.com/IIM. And while you're there, you can take the Intimacy and Marriage quiz in case you're wondering, my marriage is pretty good. I don't think you need this. No, you need this. newlife.com/IIM. We're going to go to Carol now, but let me, Jay, really quick, who called in earlier, we're going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Workbook for Grief. Sorry that I forgot to mention that earlier. And we also want to put you in touch with a Christian counselor who can help you and your wife with what you're going through. But Carol, thanks for calling in from Detroit, listening on Sirius XM, channel 131. Welcome, Carol.
Hi, thank you for taking my call today. I have a particular issue. I'm a parent of an adult son, and he's in his 30s now, and he has been, just quickly a background. As a child, when he was young, 3-4 years old, we thought he may have been autistic, so we took him to a child psychologist, and then he said that he wasn't autistic. He just had delayed speech issues because he didn't talk until he was like 4 years old. But he's always, as a child, had communication problems. He never really had any interpersonal any personal relationships with other children. He never really had friends that he played with. He always played contently by himself and into his own interests. And so it never bothered him. And, even his maybe cousins and things, he never interacted with them like just want to go out and play and that sort of thing. He was more to himself all the time. And he was fine with that. We always wanted him to do other things, but he just wouldn't. And he was fine with that. He went all the way through. And then once by the time he got maybe to his late 20s, then I think it really, and even now he's in his 30s, it is really, now it's starting to bother him that he doesn't have the relationship. He has no prospective spouse or any of those things.
All right.
And he doesn't really communicate well. So it's like, he's been to college, he has a degree in some type of computer something. I'm not even sure what it is.
But what's your main question for us today? How can we help you?
Okay, the main question is, I just kind of want to give you a little background. That's where he's at, and he's having a lot of trouble with it. So he constantly, he always comes to me, and he's, saying how he feels, and he's telling me how he feels, and it's very, very, it's not good. It weighs on me. And I give him advice, and I try to give him advice and try to explain how he should. He's very negative as far as about himself.
Yeah. Dr. Jill, what would you say to Carol?
Well, Carol, so I think it's so hard for us parents, no matter what age our children are, we want them to do well. We want them to be happy and to be, fully functional humans in society. And so it's interesting. So you've seen this lifelong pattern of him not really being interactive, and even his field of study with computers can be less relational, right? And some people, that's very congruent with who they are. Like you said, he wasn't bothered by it. And so some people, that's just okay with them. It is interesting now that he seems to have more angst about this and a desire for relationship. So he does have some catch up to do. I think it's great that he shares his feelings with you. Part of it is like you're his primary relationship, really, and he never switched it to anyone else. And so to be able to hear him, you don't have to fix it. You can't fix it at this point, right? But just to hear him, validate how he's feeling, and then ask him what he wants to do about it. What ideas do you have? Instead of you as the mom feeling like somehow you failed him and you've got to figure this out. No. Okay, son, I think it's good that you're having this awareness now. What do you want to do about it? What ideas have you thought of? What are you willing to act on?
Yeah. JJ, what do you say?
So this is an example of great minds think alike. I have written down on my page, what do you want to do about it? This is the question to ask him when he brings it up. Okay, yes. And what do you want to do about that? And that, by the way, that's advice for all of us as parents with our adult children. In any situation, is you send it back to them, right? You let them be the author of the solution. Now, I would add one thing, which is you could be curious with him about why has it changed? Why has it in the past it was not a problem to live this isolated life? What's changed for you that now it is a problem? That may be helpful for him to dig dig into, okay, so what is it? Is it, I'm feeling lonely? And maybe he's starting to imagine life. Well, what happens if mom ever goes away and I don't have that trusted resource? Then what, right? So it would be interesting to just pull that out, right? Tease that out of him. Why do you think it's different now? But absolutely what Jill said, when he's coming to you bemoaning his situation, you don't need to fix it for him. You can allow him to find the solution. Walk alongside with him, but I don't need to solve it for him.
Yeah. What do you think, Carol?
That sounds very, that sounds good. I like that. I never thought of it that way. So, yeah, I never thought of it that way because it was always kind of a weight on me, and I just felt very, after conversation, I would feel so depressed because I couldn't do anything about it to change the situation. And then, like you said, I did feel somewhat guilty because I thought it was something maybe I should have done before, and I didn't, and but so that is very enlightening.
Great.
Very enlightening.
And remember, the actual listening and reflecting back to him, you're actually doing something.
Yes, you are.
Because you're giving him back his feelings in a way that, feels palatable. You're not saying he's crazy or how could you think that? You're giving it back to him. Oh, so you're feeling this way now, or why do you think you're feeling this way? Right? And so it's like he can process it better with that interaction.
Carol, thank you for calling in today on New Life Live. We're going to send you a copy of the book, Doing Life with Your Adult Children by our friend Dr. Jim Burns. That's available on the newlife.com store. And we would love to hear from you next time that we are here on the program. 1-800-229-3000 is our number. Sierra, we're going to go to you in just a moment. But first, I want to tell you about this matching gift that we're doing right now. I mentioned it earlier, but I wanted to read a quick testimony from someone. It says, "You guys are awesome. I've been hearing you for over a decade. I've changed my mind because of you. You gave me hope in my struggles. I came out of a toxic faith church and you were there for me. Thank you." Well, thank you for sending us that message, because we're able then to tell you guys the help that you provide, that you help us provide to people when you take advantage of this matching gift that we're doing right now. So donate. Any amount will be doubled up to $500,000. Donate today by going to newlife.com. or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You can also text the word MATCH to 28950. We're trying to reach our $500,000 goal by the end of this month. You can help us do that. Sierra, we're going to talk to you in just a moment here on New Life Live, so don't hang up. We'll get to you in just a little bit.
Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
is.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Thanks for joining us today on New Life Live. It's the National Day of Prayer. So remember that we can pray for you, whatever it is you're going through. Go to newlife.com/prayer. Send in your prayer requests. We're not just going to pray for you today on the National Day of Prayer. We do this year round, but just wanted to remind you today, since it's the first Thursday of May, we would love to hear from you at newlife.com/prayer. And now we're going to go to Sierra, who's listening to us in Albuquerque. Welcome to New Life Live, Sierra.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How can we help you today?
I am concerned about my daughter's child. I don't live with my daughter. She has a daughter. She's already 12 years old. 13, my brother. And I am concerned because there's a history in our family that she doesn't know about that I feel may be concern for her or her mother. Is that I think I have to give you a backdrop a little bit, is that when I was in high school, I was abducted and kidnapped. This person trapped me and harmed me very badly, took advantage of me. And I didn't realize that had happened after it happened because I went into shock for years, for decades. Wow. And that person did not bring me to my home, to my mom, to my family home. He took me to his home, and after several days, we were coerced into getting married because they thought it was something I had consented to be with him. And since I was in shock, I couldn't speak up for myself. I through some psychological counseling when I lived in Texas, I went through counseling because I was having panic attacks while I was at work repeatedly, and I would get so overwhelmed. And I learned that this history was a part of my life, and I had not remembered it because it was just too traumatic.
Yeah.
And
so you're wondering how to say this to your daughter so that she can warn your granddaughter? Is that what your main question is for us today?
Yeah, because I was forced to marry this man, and I've since divorced him, thank God. But my daughter has a daughter now, and my daughter doesn't seem to want to acknowledge what happened to me because she doesn't want to see that her dad was a bad person.
That's what I was wondering. This is her dad.
Yes, it's her dad.
Okay.
Because I was impregnated against my wishes. And so when I got sick with the panic attacks, I wasn't able to care for my children. I have 3 from him. And so I was unraveling all this through counseling. I found out later the oldest of my children came to talk to me one day, and he told me, this person, let's say his name, Anthony, I found out from my aunt, which was his sister, that he did that to her and the other sister. He abused them.
Gotcha.
And
so your adult
person.
son corroborated the memories, these traumatic memories. Your oldest son has corroborated them with one of his aunts.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and your daughter, the daughter that you're speaking of, who has the 12-year-old, this daughter does not acknowledge? She doesn't believe that it happened?
No, she looks at me like, I don't want to hear what you have to say, and I don't spend a lot of time with her because she ended up being raised by my family members. I couldn't I couldn't function with my mental health condition, and I'm still struggling with that because I still have.
Sierra, I'm so sorry. This is just tragic. Sierra, was all of this abuse reported?
Not at the time.
But has it been since?
My oldest son, like I said, he wants to be a part of the family on his dad's side, but the only ones that embrace him are the sisters of this person, and the sister that got assaulted as well. She disclosed that there was another girl that from high school or the area, I don't know if she went to the same school, but I didn't know her, that she was also a victim of this.
Wow.
And that was the reason that he was given a choice of either to go to jail. Apparently this girl called the police and pressed charges because they told them either they put him in jail or he'd have to sign up to serve the country and go in the army or some military.
JJ, any more thoughts from you?
Yeah, so are you does the 12, 13-year-old, your granddaughter, does she have contact with this man, your ex-husband?
Oh, yeah. They all love their grandfather. She spends more time with him than she does with me because I only go visit once every couple of years in Texas. It's not a good place for me. It brings too many memories, which I can't really escape because I live in New Mexico, and I get sensations of I'm in that place again where I got assaulted, and I have flashbacks almost 3 times a week.
Right. Does your daughter talk to your son? Do they have conversations around this information, this story?
Actually, if they have what? Information? Or what?
Do they have conversations? In other words, has your son been able to communicate to your daughter that he's verified the story?
I'm sure he has. I cannot say, because he has not disclosed that to me, but they're very close ever since they were little. They'd share everything with each other. And he'll come and tell me things, and I don't know if he tells his sister. He says, I tell my sister everything. She knows everything about me, and I know everything about her.
Well, and Sierra, I'm wondering if you could ask your son if he has disclosed everything that you would want disclosed. And I mean, I think that would be important. It seems like you're wrestling with whether people fully know or not. Now, you can't force someone to accept the information. People do go in denial. They feel like they have a different relationship with a person. People like this are really good con artists. And so, your responsibility is to warn and get the information out there and to make sure that everything that has things have been reported that have needed to be reported, right? And I'm so sorry that you really aren't in a position to be able to intervene directly, really here. It sounds like it has to be through other sources.
Yeah. JJ, can you think of a resource from the newlife.com store that we can send to Sierra there in Albuquerque?
I mean, I think the overcoming post-traumatic stress for her would be helpful because she has experienced tremendous trauma. And so to be able to help her walk through that would be useful.
And to continue in therapy, working with a professional that can help you make these decisions.
Yeah. If everybody can please be in prayer for Sierra and her family during this. I mean, this is just, we hear these stories all the time here on New Life, and we're here to help you. And we'll do it again tomorrow here on New Life Live. God bless you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.